Thank you, Justin. All right, so I'm Julien. Hi again. This is me. And this is what I decide to share with the world. My perfect family, perfect vacation, perfect kids. We never fight each other. Most recently, getting a picture at the U.S. Embassy because I got my American citizenship. Thank you. Thank you. It was a few weeks ago. You can still probably tell with my accent though. But we all know this perfect moment, they're real. But we all know that they're really few and far between, especially about the kids not fighting. But we all do this. We all take this perfect moment and put it out to the world. And why do we do this? Because people interact and communicate vastly differently depending on degrees of closeness. What we share with the world is going to be very different than what we share with the people that are at our weddings, than what we share with our 10 best friends. So yes, you have the moments that you want to share with the world. Vacation, the fancy milestone, the big dress, absolutely. There are many, many other moments that we only share with our close circle. The everyday, the awkward, the high, the low, the mundane, the personal. And for me, this is what it looks like. When I get a raise, when I'm eating a bag of Cheetos, my son is walking for the first time, when I'm in Mexico and I'm actually having a terrible time because my kids keep fighting, and it's miserable, or when I'm being goofy with lenses, with myself or with my kids. This is a real me. And all of this are snaps. I use Snap to communicate with my real friends and family. And I'm not the only one. 75% of people come to Snapchat to interact with their closest friend and circle of family. And it makes it very unique compared to other social media platforms. Snap's mission is to enhance relationship between friends, family, and the world. This is what we're obsessed about. And because we don't have likes or comments, and because people go there to interact with friends and family, then they don't feel like they have to be popular or perfect, or chasing the likes and the comments and the hearts. And because of that, Snap has been growing. Snap is more relevant today than it has ever been. So if you're telling me, hey Julien, in 2019 Snap was really cool, but today I'm not so sure. Well, think again, because we've doubled the number of users since 2019. We've quadrupled the number of users since 2015. Just in the US, you can reach 110 million users every single month. This is about Super Bowl size every single month that is on Snap. But Julien, you'll tell me, isn't it Snap just kind of for teenagers and older and Gen Z? And maybe you're a little bit right on this. Snapchat is everywhere with Gen Z. 90% of Gen Zers are on Snapchat. Ask any 20-year-old, how do you communicate with your friends? They're gonna tell you, it's on Snap. But there's only, what, 35 million Gen Zers in the US? And I said you can reach 110 million people every month. So it has to be someone else. 53%, and this is the biggest stat when I came to Snap about a year and a half ago. That was the biggest shock for me. 53% of Snapchatters, of that 110 million people pool, were 25 and older. 24% were actually 34 and older. We're talking about 30 million people in the US, older than 34, being on Snapchat. So, why do you care? Why does this matter to the food and bev industry that people go on Snapchat to talk to their real relationships? Well, because the majority of food and beverage moments for CPG are part of the everyday we only share with the real relationships. Snapchat is where millions of people connect over what they eat and drink every day. And this is what it looks like. And as you can see, those are not your Instagrammable moments. When you're eating a bag of Cheetos, watching Netflix on your couch, nobody cares to see this outside of your 8 best friends. Because you have, when you're 8 best friends, like, hey, I'm eating this bag of Cheetos, it's pretty good. They're asking you questions like, okay, is it spicy, is it not, how does it taste? But outside of those 4 friends, you do not care. You do not care to see your high school buddy from 20 years ago eating a bag of Cheetos. Absolutely not. So that's why, because you're talking to your real relationships, you're talking every day about what you eat and drink. Look, there are 5 billion snacks that are sent every day. 5 billion. So there's a lot of chatters. This is how much people talk about Taylor Swift. And this is an index, obviously. This is full year 2022. And this is the peak where the FBI had to get involved, people got mad because they couldn't get tickets. This is Taylor Swift. This is how much people talk about Bad Bunny, arguably one of the biggest artists on Earth currently. This is the night of the Oscar. Everybody talked about Will Smith for 24 hours and then he was gone. But for 24 hours, everybody talked about this. But remember what I told you. People come to Snap to talk to their real relationship. And they talk about food and beverage all the time. So guess how much they're talking about snacks? They're talking about snacks more than they're talking about Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, and Will Smith combined. Guess how much they're talking about beer? They're talking about beer almost as much as they're talking about Will Smith on the night of the Oscars. And why? Because you talk to your real relationship on Snapchat. Sorry, guys. So, why does this all matter? Okay, cool, Julien. People are talking about food and bev all the time on Snap. Why do we care? Because friends and family are 5 times more influenceable than celebrities or influencers. I mean, think about it. You have your best friend drinking a Coors Light and doing a cheers and sending it to your Snapchat. And then another friend doing the same thing. Do you think next time you go to the store and you see that friend with beer, you might be a little bit influenced by it? Of course you are, because those are your best friends. You want to fit in. So when you start winning with Snapchatters, you see the snowball effect. That's the first big part of it. The second big part is that because people are on Snapchat mostly to interact with close relatives, they're happy. They don't feel drained when they go on it. 91% of Snapchatters feel happy when using Snap.
I am so sorry.
All good. And this mindset of being happy, paying attention to what you see, because those are your friends' stories. They're going to be paying more attention to what they see. They're going to remember more what they see. Of course, they're not swapping through a million different random videos. They're swapping through their friend stories. So they're going to remember that. And they're more likely to act on the brand content, whether it's recommending brands or whether it's purchasing brands. So that's why we like to say that real relationships on Snap equates to real influence for brands. So now for the last few slides, how do you drive performance? You might say, okay, got it, Julien. How do I then tap into this? And it's very simple. Exposure and experience. Exposure is basically your video ads. Skippable and unskippable ads. And when you do skippable, unskippable, and you add AR to the mix, this is the traffic type. And this is going to drive results. And because I was the head of omnichannel marketing for Lay's before I moved to Snap, I have a little soft spot for experiences, for AR. Because AR allowed me, my brand, to build an emotional connection between my brand and my consumers. In a world where we're seeing thousands of ads every day, building an emotional connection with your brand is actually pretty hard. But guess what? AR is here to help. Because when you play with that charming bear, nobody's forcing you to play. This is not a forced you. You decide to play with it. And guess what? You're going to develop an affinity for that brand and for that product. When that Yingling Lager, sorry Molson, when I play with this lens every 4th of July, when I go to the store, this is what I'm gonna buy. Because I just play with that brand. Because I'm like, man, this brand is kind of cool. It made me happy and it made me laugh. And I send it to all my friends. And the big thing is about AR. How easy it's become to build AR. Do you remember that fireside chat this morning that I had with Sophia? Since then, we've built that lens. This is a quote, technology is here to supplement creativity. This is a quote that Sophia said this morning. I had no idea she was going to say that. I wrote this quote. Since this fireside chat, we created this lens, where when you scan a Blue Moon logo, this appears. Of course, we created this in, what, an hour and a half. So it's not, and this is the table that is right there on this corner, by the way. So, of course, this is not amazing AR, but this is just 2 hours. So not only AR is very easy and accessible, you can actually play with culture right on. You see something happening, you can have that snap code on pack. You can have that snap code on packaging. You can have that snap code everywhere you want, on, in, out of home. Because when people see that, they see that there is an experience waiting for them. They see there is something cool that is going to bring an affinity and a connection between your brand and your consumer. So, the last slide is how do you optimize performance then? It's a mix between efficiency and effectiveness. So, the formula is as such as skippable ads to drive efficiency, about 70%, and then you have your AR lens and force view for about 20 to 30%. This is going to drive media, because you have the media team that is really going to focus on this number, but it's also going to drive your brand and build your brand. And this is going to drive results. So food and bev right now at Snap is the fastest growing vertical, because people talk about food and bev all the time. Look at these results. When you do what we call the brilliant basics, this drives ROI. This is not just a fun, cool, gimmicky AR. This drives results. And this is a Nielsen study. This is not our study that we're showing you. And this is what it looks like. Skippable ads, force view, and AR. This is a traffic tag. This is very simple. And again, this drives brand building and this drives results. So, to leave you with the last slide, what have we seen today? We've seen that Snapchat is about real relationship, and that fosters a happy and growing community. We've seen that real relationships equals real influence, especially for food and beverage brands. And then how do you do it? You drive performance with a mix of video and AR. And on that point, have a good lunch.